Hello, welcome back. GovDoc Breakdown, no opinions, just facts and summaries of government documents per usual. All right, May 27th, Supreme Court opinion on an order, Apache Stronghold v. the United States. All right, another dissenting opinion here due to a denial of certiorari or denying of hearing the case by the Supreme Court. But as per usual, first the background of the case. This case centers around an area known as Oak Flat, a sacred site for the Western Apache used for religious ceremonies and cultural practices for centuries. Historically, the U.S. government has protected the site and been in control of the land, but now a mining company, whom the land was transferred to back in 2014, which is important, remember that, Resolution Copper, wants to mine for copper under Oak Flat, which would create a crater up to 1,000 feet deep and 2 miles wide, basically destroying the site. In response, a nonprofit Apache Stronghold sued under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, arguing that this would stop them from practicing their religion. And the Religious Freedom Restoration Act says the government cannot, quote, substantially burden a person's religious exercise unless it's the least restrictive way to serve a compelling government interest. The Ninth Circuit rejected the Apache Stronghold's challenge, saying that destroying Oak Flat was not a substantial burden on religion. However, the reasoning that they gave is a little odd to say the least. So, the Ninth Circuit actually did say that preventing worship at a sacred site is a substantial burden. But the court created a special exception when it comes to dispositions like selling or transferring of government property, and saying that it does not count as a substantial burden unless it forces people to reject their faith or discriminates them compared to other religions. And so here's where we get to that important historical context. In 2014, a last-minute provision called the Land Exchange Act was added to a defense spending bill, and it ordered Oak Flat land transferred from the U.S. government to the mining company in question. So the land was technically transferred to the mining company, fulfilling the court's exception order. So the Ninth Court is basically saying that since the mining plan doesn't force the Apache to stop believing or treat them worse than other religions, the court is saying that that is not a substantial burden because the land was transferred. This was appealed to the Supreme Court and certiorari was denied, causing the lower court's order to remain, clearing the way for the mining of the Oak Flat land.
Full video located on our channel.